Honorable members, shall we pray? Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the wills of the people and the love for the common good. Praise the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, we will turn to item 4. Item 4, correction of votes and proceedings and official report. We have the votes of proceedings of yesterday, Wednesday, 14 June 2023. You start from page 1. Page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8. Yes, Honourable Member for Banda and Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on page 8, era number 29, the Honourable Isif Seidu, MP for Nalergo Gambaga, I signed his leave of absence and forwarded it to the Deputy Speaker's office. And it's always being marked absent.
When did you sign?
That was last week, I suppose so. He was here, he brought it to my office and I signed it for him. Honorable MP for Nalergo Gambaga. But throughout the week, he's being marked absent.
Throughout the week? And yes, it means we haven't received them. Anyway, we will cross.
I don't know whether it has been approved or not approved. That's why I'm making the inquiry.
I mean, for approval, once it comes to approval.
He was given it was approved at my level up to tomorrow. So waiting for your approval.
What I'm saying, once it has come from your end to our table, we will obviously work on it. So, table, check if indeed his records are there, that he sought permission, then we effect the changes. Yes, majority here.
Yeah, I see my colleague trying to catch your attention on the matter of a member's leave of absence from his sign. But what he should be doing, a good friend should be doing.
Leader, hold on. Which school is going? Which school is that? Which school is that? Oh, okay. Okay.
But my colleague should do the appropriate thing. He should check the records and be sure that indeed it's been approved. Signing the form is not enough. And he knows this.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, I was also going to put in a case for some people, but my chief whip has stopped me from pursuing this path. Mr. Speaker, but I will still try. The Honorable Amakwata is traveled out, and Mr. Speaker, he also submitted a leave of absence form, and I consented and transmitted it to the Speaker's office. The Honorable Nitiu, then Dr. Matthew Pukuprembe, they all did, and I don't know where it is though, but by the attitude of my chief whip, I don't know how to pursue it, but it's a plea, it's a plea that these people have submitted here. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Andrew Andy Apiekubi was here yesterday, and he's been marked absent. So, let the table of his correct saying. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Habib as well. Habib, yes, my chief whip, my deputy whip.
But leader, the difficulty has always been that Honorable Piakubi yesterday he was here. He wanted to even make a statement. But if he didn't sign, the records will not show, even though he was here. So that's why we've been appealing to members that once you come, do well to sign the register. That's what has been shown here. He didn't sign. So even though he was here, the fault cannot be with the table. So we have always been appealing to members. Once you enter the chamber, please do well to sign the register. Because that's the only way we can. For if leader comes here, obviously the register people will get to know that leader. But other people, they cannot authenticate whether they were here or not. So the only thing they can do that is through the register. So we've been making this appeal that whenever you come, do well to sign the register. At least for now, that is our only checks.
Speaker, you are right in referring to the list that we have, which must be signed by members. The Speaker, is a convention that we are trying to develop. Let me just remind that the House has not come to a firm determination on this matter. The Speaker, it is so because there's a standing ruling on this matter in this House, which ruling has not been overturned. Mr. Speaker, a former Speaker, the Right Honorable Anajete, it was, who made that ruling. And that ruling has not been overturned. We try to assist the House by resorting to this. I'm just saying that much as it's a very good idea for all of us, I think the House should come to some determination, final determination on this, so that members then would be compelled to sign the register, whether to register their presence. But as it is, it's still a fluid situation. So let the House come to a final conclusion, a final determination on this one. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
So leadership, it still rests with leadership. I mean, we need to take firm decision on this. So we move to, so honorable table members, please, all those members, their issue have come, please check the register. If indeed they have excuse duties, then we effect the changes. Well. So, honorable members, with respect to Honorable Apiekubi, I personally saw him yesterday. So, with that one, I direct the table to effect the change. Very well. So we turn to page 9. Yes, honorable member for Northton.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at page 9, the first item under statements. Instead of committees, that's plural, we should have committee. That's the honorable member for Clote Colley and deputy ranking member of the Committee on Defense and Interior, Dr. Zaneto Ajima-Rawlings, made a statement on parliamentary oversight over the security sector and its associated challenges and urged the House to adequately resource the committees. It should be committee to ensure effective and efficient outcomes, because we have only one committee that oversights the security sector. That's the Committee on Defense and Interior. So it should be, I recall that the statement focused on the Defense and Interior Committee. So it should be the committee and not committees.
Honorable member, my problem is we have to check from the script. If the script indicated committees, then I think we have to maintain it like this. Honorable member, are you listening to me? Yes, I'm saying we have to revisit the script. If the script is Honorable, we raised an issue. I'm just trying to. Your suggestion is that it's supposed to be a committee instead of committee. But I don't know. I'm just asking that we have to look at the script itself. If he has actually asked for committees to look into it, then we cannot, your position cannot be. Yes.
We accept your guidance.
I have a copy of the script, and Speaker, if you may indulge me, this is the caption of the script: the parliamentary oversight of the security sector, challenges and opportunities for improvement, by Dr. Zaneto Ajima-Rawlings, Member of Parliament for Clote Colley constituency, Republic of Ghana, and the Deputy Ranking Member on the Select Committee on Defense and Interior, March 2023. That's it.
Then table effect the change. If that's the script, then I will order that day. Yes, honorable member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you recall that yesterday I tried very hard to catch your eyes, but you indicated to me that no matter what I do, you are not going to call me. Unfortunately, I'll be marked absent.
Yeah, because of what the speaker did.
Probably because of what you said. And so I wanted to draw your attention that I was here physically, and I should be marked as such.
Well. But then it appears you also didn't register your name that you were here. So a table. Indeed, I saw him physically. And you please address that one. Yes, Eric, you didn't sign. So that's why you were marked absent, even though you were here. So like the same, like Andy Apiekubi. Yes, please. So table kindly effect the change. But like honorable members, I've said this severally, and I'm repeating it. For now, we have not been able to come out any mechanism as we speak now. So once you come here, please do well to sign the register so that we can at least authenticate our presence. So we turn to page 10. Page number 11. 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. Page 18. Page 19. Page 20. Page number 21. Yes, Honorable Member for Northton.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please, the first item at page number 21. LXXVII, the Municipal Chief Executive for Doma Central Municipal Assembly. The name should be Mr., not Mrs. Mr. Drissa Ouattara, not Mrs. Drissa Kohara, as has been captured here. So if it can be corrected. Mr. Drissa Ouattara.
You are sure he's a man?
Yes, very sure. And it's Drissa Ouattara.
Very well.
Yeah, I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Table, kindly take note and effect the change. We now turn to page 22. Page 23. Yes, Honorable.
Well, Mr. Speaker, here again, I also checked from the website, the Asonafo South MC, it should be Mr. Yao Jose Buahene with an E, B-O-A-H-E-N.
Which page are you referring to?
Page 23, item number CVI.
Item number C.
CVI. Roman numeral CVI.
VI. Yao Jose Buahene.
Yes. With
And
an
supposed
E,
to
not
be-
an yeah, an E, not an I.
Oh, okay. So table, check from the attendance register the way he wrote it. And this. So we move to 24. Page 25. Page, yes.
Mr. Speaker, on the same issue that Honorable Okuyetu raised, CVI, page 23, Municipal Chief Executive, Esunafo North Municipal, not Esunafo South. Esunafo South is a district assembly. Esunafo North is municipal.
Oh, okay. Table, take note of that. Supposed to be north. We turn to page 25. Page 26. Page 27. Page 28. Page 29. Page 30. Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, is that your seat?
Yes, that's my speaker.
That is your seat?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, in reference to the correction Honorable Oko has just made, if that is the case, then when you look at, it should follow. We now have Asmafo South here, which is now Asmafo North. That is a DSSSII.
Page 30.
Yes, page 25.
Page 25.
Yes, please. In respect of the district, there's a district chief executive at Asnafo North District Assembly, which is now Mr. Anthony Mensah. So if the other one was corrected to Asnafo North, then this one is supposed to be Asnafo South, not no more Asnafo North.
Table. Table, have you gotten
Page
his
25.
brief? Very well. Thank you very much, Honourable Member. So we turn to page 32. 31, yes. Yes, Honourable.
Mr. Speaker, at page 31, the last item at page 31, XXVI, it should read Her Ladyship, not His Lordship. Her Ladyship. And she is Her Ladyship Justice Agnes Dorji, not Darcy. Not Darcy. Maybe this is a fancy version of Dorji. So it should be Dordzie, Dorji. If we want the full name, Her Ladyship Justice Mercy Abla Agnes Dorji, not Darcy, as has been captured here. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. Table, look at it. So we turn to 32. Page 33. Yes, Honourable.
Well, Mr. Speaker, my good friend, the former NUCS president, Mr. Kofi Adonting Esquire, his firm is Aborigines Legal Consult, partner Aborigines Legal Consult, and not Aborigines, as we have here.
Page 32, which item are you?
Page 33, item number LVII. LVII. Mr. Kofi Adonting, partner Aborigines Legal Consult. There's a problem with Aborigines. It should be corrected accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Table, kindly take note of that. You move to page 34. Yes, I'll come to you once again. Honourable.
Well, Mr. Speaker, item LXX, Mrs. Dana Free Adu, Head Business Regulatory Reform Unit. Regulatory reform has been put together. It should be separated. Regulatory Reform Unit, Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Yes. Thank you. Table. I believe you have seen that. Table, have you taken note of that? Very well. So we turn to page 35. Page 36. Yes, Honourable Member for Commander, Elmina.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On number 2 on that page, it says the following honourable members were present. I was present in Volta Serene for Public Accounts Committee, and the name is Samuel Atamil. Thank you, sir.
So, Honourable Member, I believe they reported what was registered.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know whether you registered at home.
Yes, I did. And the chairman of the committee is here. And
Yes,
the ranking member too was here.
So, Table, check from the records. If indeed he was there, he registered, then you pay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, yes. Honourable Deputy Majority Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you earlier addressed the Honourable Samuel Atamil as MP for either Elmina or Commander.
Eguaf.
Yeah. Are you able to tell us the full name of your constituency?
Mr. Speaker, my constituency
Honourable
name...
Member, have I asked you to?
No, sir. I just wanted to reply my nephew.
So we move to page 37. page 38, page 39, page 40, page number 41, page 42, page 43, page 44, page 45, page 46, page 47, page 48, page 49, page 50, page number 51, page 52, and finally page. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of Form 2023 is hereby adopted as the true records of proceedings. Honorable members, I have in my hands the 7 December 2022 official report. December 2022 official report. Yes, honorable member for Northern.
Well, Mr. Speaker, just for consistency of our record, on the cover page, the tax waiver was for Le Meridian Hotel, which is what reflects at column 163. But on the cover, you have the Meridian Hotel. So just for consistency, it should be properly aligned. So it's Le Meridian Hotel, so we are consistent.
No, I'm not with you.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the tax waiver agreement at column 163 was for Le Meridian Hotel. That's the name.
Column 163.
163, yes. It's for Le Meridian, which is what the head note and the entire facility is for. But on the cover page, we have a different rendition, which is the Meridian. So just for consistency of records, if it can be aligned.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, table, check the records and so table, check the records and let's see which one is correct. Any further? Honorable members, the absence of any further corrections, the official report of 7th December 2022 is hereby adopted as the true records of proceedings. We turn to statement item 5 in today's order paper. We've had only one statement from Honorable Abrajifa Gomeshi, a member for Ketu South. Are you laughing because of the way I pronounce your name?
Rightly so, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Very well. You can help us pronounce it well. Yes.
Agomashimashi. Mr. Speaker, that is the name. Gomashi. Thank you.
Honorable Whip, is there any issue?
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, my students from Kase are here, Kase Pentecost Child and Youth Development Center. So I would be grateful if you acknowledge them. They have traveled all the way from Ada to Parliament House.
You've already acknowledged them.
Honorable Whip, I will do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Mr. Speaker, I want special acknowledgement.
Very special.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member is a leader, and she's made a special application. Mr. Speaker, I support this application. Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly support this application because these kids are coming all the way from Ada, and they are in Accra, the city, where you've been for a long time. Yes, you have been here for a long time. No, but they have just come to the chamber. They haven't been here before. I didn't say that is a village. This is the city, the capital city. So, Mr. Speaker, I support the application. However belated the application, Mr. Speaker, let's acknowledge them. Mr. Speaker, grant it for her. Mr. Speaker, grant it for her.
Very well. So honorable leader.
What he has forgotten is Ada is a beautiful city. Very, very beautiful by nature.
City.
Yeah, it's very, very beautiful. Ada is like Dubai. If you want a place to rest, just come to us. And you have a serene environment. For example, Aqua Safari and Peace Holiday, other hotels. In fact, when you talk about Ada, don't compare it to Accra, which is true. Ada is very, very beautiful.
It's okay.
Very well. So before you read the statement, let me now acknowledge the school. We have 3 schools here. So the first one is St. Cyprian Anglican Basic School, Obeye Amasaman. Then we have Kase Pentecost Child and Youth Development Center, Kase in Ada. Then finally we have Tayudin Educational Center, Kaswa, Lawyer. So our children and nieces and nieces, you are welcome to Parliament of Ghana. We hope you are coming to witness what is going on here. So we acknowledge you. We believe you are taking note of whatever is taking place here. And we believe one day you also aspire to come and work here. So you are all welcome. Honorable, do you have I done your job for you?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm so grateful.
So, honorable member for South Tongue, let's South, Ketu South. Let's hear you.
Mr. Speaker, you have messed my personal name up and also that of the Ketu South.
Very well.
I'm grateful for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker. I rise to make a statement on World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Mr. Speaker, I'm thankful for the opportunity to make a statement as we commemorate this extremely important World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Mr. Speaker, June 15th of every year is designated as World Elder Abuse Day. It was established by the United Nations in response to a proposal by the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse, which was initially organized in June 2006. Today marks the day the entire globe expresses its outrage at the cruelty and suffering perpetrated on some of our elders. Abuse can occur in homes, institutional settings, and may take forms such as physical, sexual, emotional, or psychological, neglect, abandonment, financial, or material exploitation. Mr. Speaker, the theme for this year's World Elder Abuse Day is Closing the Cycle, addressing gender-based violence in older age policy, law and evidence-based responses. Over the next 3 decades, the United Nations estimates
Honourable Member, you are addressing me. So,
over the next 3 decades, the United Nations estimates that the number of older persons worldwide is projected to more than double, reaching more than 1.5 billion persons in 2050. The second fastest increase is projected for sub-Saharan Africa, where the population age 65 or over could grow from 32 in 2019 to 101 million in 2050. After North Africa and Western Asia, which has recorded the fastest. In Ghana, the elderly population is projected to grow by 2.5 million by 2025 to 6 million by 2050, representing about 12% of the total population. With a growing global population of elderly people, and as longevity increases, abuse of the elderly is an occurring problem that affects health and human rights. A report by ActionAid Ghana in 2022 stated that gender-based violence is a global pandemic that affects 1 in every 3 women in their lifetime. Gender-based violence is any inhuman treatment meted out to a person solely because of his or her gender. In 2016, Brenna Wilkinson, an intern for the Council on Foreign Relations, researched that Ghanaian women face barriers in reporting violence. These obstacles are rooted in cultural belief that domestic and sexual violence is a private matter that should be addressed outside of the criminal justice system. A public health report also showed that 33% to 37% of women in Ghana have experienced intimate partner violence in the course of their relationship. Furthermore, statistics at Accra Regional Office of the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit shows that as at August 2020, 31.9% of Ghanaian women have faced at least one form of domestic violence, that is physical, economic, psychological, social, or sexual. Although both men and women suffer this fate, elderly women are the most vulnerable. It is sad that even though that is the case, more women are reluctant to report such violent crimes for fear of reprisal. Mr. Speaker, in 2020, a 90-year-old woman at Kafaba Salaga in the Savannah region was lynched due to the accusation that she was a witch. Recently, in May 2023, 2 individuals were lynched at the Mion district of the northern region on suspicion of practicing witchcraft. Sicknesses, the ability to have children, drought, flood, fire, etc. are all blamed on elderly women who are tagged with witchcraft. My recommendations, Mr. Speaker. Aging is an unavoidable phenomenon. We are all in that line, if not there already. We must get our ducks in a row to enhance the protection of the growing number of elderly in our communities. As an African proverb goes, a village without elders is like a well without water. Mr. Speaker, I applaud the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty initiative. It is a social protection intervention started in 2008, targeted at the poor in the society. This was done offering cash and food as well as promoting access to social services and opportunities among the poor in the society. The inability of the aged over 60 years to be actively employed to earn an income can deplete their finances after a while. It is therefore important that the LEAP program is designed to prioritize the older men and women, because after age 60, you can imagine what happens. Mr. Speaker, it is a fact that old age comes with many health implications. For this reason, the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service should consider widening the health Mr. Speaker, it is a fact that old age comes with many health implications. For this reason, the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service should consider widening the health insurance scheme to cover many illnesses, especially those associated with old age. In addition, more health practitioners should be trained to offer services that are tailored to cater especially to older men and women in our societies. This will help reduce the mortality rates of the aged. Many aged people are dying from illnesses that could be treated with simple medical procedures and medication. This should not be the case. Mr. Speaker, permit me to acknowledge the good works of my colleagues, the Honourable Member for Parliament for Wa East constituency, Honourable Dr. Godfred Seidu Jasal, and Honourable Francis Xavier Sosu, Honourable Member of Parliament for Medina, for their bold step towards ensuring the passage of the Anti-Witchcraft Bill to restore sanity and dignity to victims. There is an urgent need to call the bill to be passed by Parliament. The ideology of isolating elderly people considered to be witches and wizards in witch camps, such as the one in Gambaga, Kukuo camp, the Nubulu witch camp in the northern region, is inhumane and must be demolished. Mr. Speaker, I humbly make a call for the critical look at the well-being of older members of Parliament, workers in all professions and those in the unemployed bracket. This brings to mind the senior citizens who resorted to picketing at the premises of the Ministry of Finance to protest the government's domestic debt exchange program. It is important that their concerns are taken into consideration and their needs catered to. The optics are not good, and it is not our culture. I wish to appeal to the Gender Committee of this august House to take an interest in the treatment of the vulnerable in our society more seriously and demand the best for them. Finally, as Ghanaians, we all have a role to play in having a change in mindset and attitudes towards the elderly people in our churches, schools, markets, on buses, and society as a whole. I miss the good old days where children had utmost respect and honor for the aged. Today, the lack of empathy and care towards the aged is alarming. To my colleague MPs, as a family unit, we can contribute to the solution by instilling in our children the essence of compassion, empathy, and respect our old men and women. Remember, the good book says in Ephesians 6:1-3, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may be well with you and you may live long on earth. Mr. Speaker, I thank you most sincerely for the opportunity to make this statement.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honorable Member for Manson Kwanta.
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for the opportunity given me
to contribute to this wonderful and important statement made by my dear sister at the other side, celebrating the World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day on this 15th day of June. Mr. Speaker, it is very unpalatable to hear that in Ghana, while people are growing and is seen as a blessing, we see it as something that is demonic and evil. To be blessed with aging is an important lesson for the youth, that when you grow, it means that you sowed good seed upon which you have been blessed to grow. Mr. Speaker, the lynching of the 90-year-old lady at Mion is a clear testimony of the way that we respect and the way that we don't respect our elderly. There's a case here that we have to look at and come out with bold decisions and policy to protect our elderly, particularly those coming from places where they see their women as being witch. When you look at our culture and other places, to grow up as an old lady means that you have a lot to give to your people, because in our culture, when we are establishing any issue and it comes to a difficult stage, we say, let's go and see the old lady. It tells you the wisdom that they are possessed, and therefore they contribute towards social goodness and social communal spirit. Mr. Speaker, when you talk of old age, let's look at other places, advanced countries. Old age home, what does it mean? They cater for old age home because when you are growing, the physiological position of any person changes, and therefore you behave in a way that is not normal. So they have crafted the old age home where the elderly are sent for them to be taken care of. So symbolically, when you come to Ghana, the establishment of those homes was symbolic to the European and American system of having old age homes. So why don't we look at that way? That because of our culture, we respect the elderly, and because of the physiological changes in their lives, why don't we also look at the old age home as an old age base where instead of tagging them as being rich, we tag them as being old age and they demand special attention. I believe if Parliament is to take steps and turn this anomaly into positive way by seeing as those people as which home, we can turn them to be an old age home where we have to have proper facilities to take care of our elderly because they are blessed due to their contribution to society. It's very important. Apart from that, there are other, I'm chipping this one too, there are other customary rules and laws and practices that are also symbolic to other places that you say, Trokosi and those in a convent that they train young ladies. Why don't you convert these places to such modern types like a convent to train these young ladies? And then, if by extension, I'm taking the old age home, then it means that there we can let them go through certain economic activities where they will be economically useful to society. For example, when you go to the north, they gather these women who may be working on harvest from the farm, where they will be taking the bad nuts from the good ones, and therefore it contributes to social and economic good. So, Mr. Speaker, I may want to say that today being the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, let's take and train our elderly women to be useful and economically gainful to help society. At the same time, government should come out boldly with policies that will take care of such women instead of abusing them and then subjecting them to ill treatment. This will not help the cause of our society. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the time given me to give contribute to this statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Yes, let me come to Honorable Member for Adan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the statement made by Honorable Member for Ketu South. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to old age, I think as a nation we need to change our perception towards old age. It surprises me that parents can give birth to 6, 5, 4 children, but these 4 children cannot take care of just 2 parents who gave birth to them. It surprises me. And they end up running to churches and they will portray the picture as if the parents rather are their problems. And people will start sending their parents to places that is not best, and before you realize, they will start lynching some of them, as she stated in the statement. Mr. Speaker, it is time government sit up and take care of old age. Because if you go to European countries, they focus their attention on old age and they take proper care of them. So even if they will have problems in their homes, they send them to aged houses. Mr. Speaker, we have to start doing something like that for our old age. They are the vulnerable ones in society now. If you look at the north side, the south, east, west, some of the old ages are having issues and having problems. Even where to sleep, what to eat is a problem. So, Mr. Speaker, I will add my voice by pleading to the government that they should start building homes for this old age that will have issues, that they need places to go, and then, or they have to be rescued to those places. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Member for North Tongue.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very important statement, and I want to congratulate the Honorable Abla Jifa Gomashi. We call her Mamaga in the Volta region, for this very well-researched statement. Mr. Speaker, a statement to commemorate World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Mr. Speaker, this is a phenomenon which has been going on for years. And as a country, it has reached levels that we are all appalled about. We all condemn what particularly female elderly people are put through in our society. Mr. Speaker, I take the view that it is an extreme embarrassment, a national disgrace, that in this century and in this era, we still have witches' camps dotted at several places in our country. Mr. Speaker, on this day, I want to join colleagues and the Honorable Ablaji Fagomashi and call for the abolishment of all these witches' camps. These camps must be closed and closed immediately. They represent a grave violation of the human rights of our senior citizens. That those camps still exist, Mr. Speaker, is a scar on our collective conscience. And Mr. Speaker, I believe that as lawmakers, nothing should even stop us from pursuing a private member's bill to totally abolish this practice and make it illegal for witches' camps to exist. I think it's long overdue, because it's really a disgrace. It is a national embarrassment. It is an anathema, an abomination. It's not something we should entertain, we should tolerate at all, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, what is sad is that you can see that this is clear discrimination against elderly people who are in a vulnerable category. Mr. Speaker, in this country, if you are elderly and you are rich, if she's a rich woman who has some inheritance her children can have, she's never declared a witch. But once you are poor, once you don't have earnings, you don't have property, you are very vulnerable, then you are immediately classified a witch and you are thrown into witches' camps. Mr. Speaker, this cannot continue. And we cannot accept any cultural justification for that. And in doing so, Mr. Speaker, we must also call to order those who hide under religious practices. People go for prayers, and then all of these charlatans, false prophets, which the Bible tells us will abound in the last days. As Christians, we shouldn't forget that the Bible tells us that in the last days, many false prophets will abound. And these false prophets are in active practice. And they tell people that, oh, it's your grandmother. It's that old woman in your house. She is responsible for your woes. She is responsible for your unemployed status. She is responsible for the difficulties you are facing in life. Mr. Speaker, we cannot accept this. And the majority leader is asking me to cite examples. Well, I would ignore that bit. But Mr. Speaker, the majority leader knows. Quite a common phenomenon. And sometimes they don't even hide it. They broadcast it. You see it on television, on radio, where they claim to be prophesying and pointing to some elderly person in the home who is responsible for the woes of their members. Mr. Speaker, this must stop. As a country, we are happy that life expectancy is going up. I was looking at the current statistics, and life expectancy in Ghana has increased to about 64 years, up from 61 years in 2019. And the projection is that it's going to continue to go up to even catch up with the global average, which is 72 years. Mr. Speaker, what is revealing about Ghana's demographics is that the females are growing older, whereas for men it's 63.7 years. For females, for our women, it's 69.2 years. So our women are living longer. And we should tell you that there's a lot we should be learning from our women. Our women are living well. They have very good, healthy lifestyle. They know how to handle stress. Look at what women go through. A lot of them, single parents. They would single-handedly take care. And we are all, most of us here can attest to that. The power of a single mother, of an industrious woman who will juggle, take care of children, take care of their home, and still work, trade, make money, and keep the family afloat. And Mr. Speaker, instead of our senior citizens, our elderly women, how they are able to cope, how they are able to manage stress and all of that, and how they are able to live longer, they rather become victims of society in old age. Mr. Speaker, this cannot continue. And that's why I would also want to commend our colleagues, the Honorable Sosu and the Honorable Gisau, who have a private members bill to make sure that witchcraft is outlawed. Mr. Speaker, we must all support that effort, and we must ensure that witch camps do not exist. I know the Gender Ministry started some work under Nana Oyelita, which I'm sure her successors have continued. But the pace has been very, very slow. And really, this phenomenon should not exist. And I think as colleagues, every member of parliament who has this camps in their constituency, they should all feel affronted, sufficiently outraged, so that we work together to have these witch camps closed. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to also commend the maker of the statement for drawing our attention to gender-based violence. It is on the increase when you look at the statistics. Mr. Speaker, the statistics are very, very frightening indeed. That according to Action Aid in 2022, they declared gender-based violence a pandemic, and they say that in Ghana, public health reports show that 33 to 37% of women have experienced gender-based violence. That is about 1/3, Mr. Speaker, of our women who are experiencing gender-based violence. Mr. Speaker, the fairer sex should be protected. They should be loved. They should be cared for. We must make sure that they feel safe. We must not hound them. We must not attack them. We must not be assaulting them. And so this is a terrible, terrible statistic. And that brings to mind, Mr. Speaker, what happened only this week. This week, there was a viral video which was very, very, very disheartening, Mr. Speaker. We all saw that viral video. A woman somewhere in the Upper East region of Fulani extraction. And, I mean, men pounced on her. And we are told the story is that they were punishing her for the sins of her husband. Mr. Speaker, can you believe that? That her husband is suspected to be a rapist, and so they decided to take it out on her. I mean, it's unimaginable, Mr. Speaker. And the women are always the easy targets. And this cannot continue. I want to commend the IGP, though, Mr. Speaker, for the swift action. He intervened himself, ordered arrests, and I'm told that 4 of the perpetrators have been arrested so far. And they must know that this House condemns that kind of conduct, and we will not accept our women continuously suffering gender-based violence, lynching of elderly people in the name of witchcraft. All of those things must stop. And I commend the maker of the statement, even though she is nowhere near old age. She's still very young and pretty. We salute her for bringing this to our attention. And Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Yes, let me come to Western Region Minister. Yes, Honorable.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, and also to Honorable Ifa Gomashi on this beautiful statement on the World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day 2023. Mr. Speaker, aging is a natural phenomenon, and at all times it is important that we do our best to safeguard it and make it useful. In Akan, we have a proverb that says that "Sewuni penny will fear," literally meaning that if you don't have the elderly in your home, there's calamity. So clearly, Mr. Speaker, having the opportunity to have older people, elderly people in your home is a blessing. And therefore, it is apt that Honorable Abla Ifa Gomashi has done this statement here in this House. Mr. Speaker, in other societies, as you age, you are either sent to old people's homes where you are taken care of, and then your medical, your physicals, whatever is taken care of in a lot of advanced societies. But in Ghana, because we have these large families, extended family systems, it is expected that these systems will be able to support our elderly people to be able to composure, maintain their health, and be able to advise generations from one part to the other. I quite remember when I was a young man and my grandmother was alive. Anytime you made a mistake, she would call you to the room and tell you what your father did. what your mother did, what your uncles did, what your grandfathers and everybody did in the house, and tell you how you should change your path for the good, not for the worse. Mr. Speaker, it is also clear from our own constitution that Article 26, with your permission, I'd like to read. Every person, it says that, I'll read 1 and 2 so that we can link the two together. Every person is entitled to enjoy, practice, profess, maintain and promote any culture, language, tradition or religion subject to the provisions of this constitution. And if you take the 26(2), it says all customary practices which dehumanize or are injurious to the physical and mental well-being of a person are prohibited. So clearly, in societies in Ghana or elsewhere, where we treat people inhumanly and then not in dignity, clearly the Constitution of Ghana provides for it so that we can stop it. It is therefore very important that anywhere in Ghana that we see the elderly are being mistreated, I believe that we have the full backing of the Constitution to stop it. Either getting the police to stop them or getting the courts to stop them. And I believe that that is the way we should be going. But Mr. Speaker, if we take a lot of these stories that come from our communities about the humanizing nature of how elderlies are being treated, one of the things that we tend to see is that you never hear that rich old people are being humanized. I've never heard it before. So I wonder, we have never heard it before. So the question I ask myself is that, is the cure for stopping this, in quote, rubbish, should be that we should find a way to make sure that our people are rich all the way to the time they get old or die. Maybe that might be the solution. Yes, they have to be empowered financially. And I strongly believe that that is the way maybe as a country we have to be looking at. In fact, for a very long time, when we have a lot of debates in this house, Mr. Speaker, we hardly talk about how to create value addition, how to create wealth, and how to share the wealth. Most of the times, we're always talking about expenses. We need school here, we need toilet there, we need road here. We have to start thinking of how we can make sure that we are able to create wealth. Because we know, for instance, that all the people that end up in public employment, they can never be rich. They can, at best, be middle class. And therefore, we have to start inculcating this understanding that to create wealth in this country, we need to entice more people into the private sector, into entrepreneurship, into manufacturing, into value addition. Mr. Speaker, I believe that that is where we can create the extra wealth to be able to take care of our elderly parents so that they don't become targets for people's religious, fanatical labeling of our elderly people in the Ghanaian society. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore very important that Honorable Gomashi has brought this issue full cycle back to us in this house. And I strongly believe that we will have more of our elderly people not abused. It will go a long way in supporting us to grow the knowledge base, the traditional knowledge base, the local knowledge base of our families and of our citizens, and make Ghana a better place to live because they help us to grow well. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Eric.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by our colleague. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important statement for all of us, because very soon we are progressing towards that period. And obviously, we require some special attention when we get to old age. Some of us are already there, but those of us in the middle age, we have not attained the old age yet. Mr. Speaker, from the moment of conception to the grave, life is made up of stages. And in every stage, one requires special attention. You start from when you are carried in the womb, and the challenges that our mothers go through, the difficulties before they deliver. Mr. Speaker, in childhood, that is where we require special attention. And they will do everything possible to make sure that we are protected, to make sure that they nurture us and develop us to become useful adult citizens who will contribute towards nation building. Mr. Speaker, they do all these sacrifices, but when they get to the old age, when we have attained adulthood and we have developed physically, we have developed intellectually, and we have the capacity to support them, that is where we abuse them. Mr. Speaker, it is unfortunate that when people grow and they are blessed with old age, they are considered witches and wizards. It is something that one cannot understand. Is it a sin to attain old age? Now, Mr. Speaker, we don't need a new law to prohibit this witches camp we are talking about. The Constitution prohibits it. And we must act immediately to restore peace and dignity to our people. Mr. Speaker, I refer you to Article 26 of the 1992 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I read. Is entitled to enjoy, practice, profess, maintain, and promote any culture, language, tradition, or religion, subject to the provisions of this Constitution. Mr. Speaker, Clause 2. All customary practices which dehumanize or are injurious to the physical and mental well-being of a person are prohibited. And so, Mr. Speaker, the law is clear. All cultural practices that dehumanize our people, that physically torture them and destabilize their mental well-being are prohibited. And so, Mr. Speaker, why do we even allow these things to happen in this country? That would they create this kind of witches camp and then keep our women there, our grandmothers there for no good reason, and will treat them. And we sit aloof as if nothing is happening in this country. And it is only when somebody captures this on video and then it goes viral, then we ask the police to go and arrest them. What they are doing is illegal under the Constitution of this country. And we must act now. Those who have the capacity under the law to enforce the law, they must do so immediately. And so, Mr. Speaker, I personally don't think that we need a new law to criminalize what they are doing. It is already prohibited under the 1992 Constitution. And this thing must not be tolerated. We have sat aloof for quite a long time. We must act immediately. And so, Mr. Speaker, we will sit here, pass the law, and then we want those who have the power to enforce the law to do so. Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious matter. People can trivialize it because they don't take interest in some of these important matters. But Eugene must understand that this is a serious matter, which requires all of us to be on board.
Lives are at stake.
Lives are at stake, and everybody must be concerned about it. I'm surprised that Honorable Eugene intends to trivialize a matter of national interest like this. This shouldn't be the case. And so, Mr. Speaker, I will urge you, being the Speaker of this House, to order those who have been empowered under the Constitution to enforce the law, to, as a matter of urgency, bring down all these witches camps and allow our people to live in peace. They are our mothers. They brought us up. We owe them a duty to ensure their safety, to make them happy, and to ensure that they live a decent life. Can you see this in Europe? Where in Europe can you find this kind of camps? Where in America can you find this? Are we the only human beings on earth that believe in those things? Mr. Speaker, the right thing must be done. And so I urge you, once this statement, important statement, has been made at the time that you are presiding. Mr. Speaker, do something. Do something to arrest this unfortunate situation before you become very old. Otherwise, you go and then experience the same thing. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Let me give Honorable Frida Prempe. I have urged her to speak. So, Honorable, let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very important statement made by my Honorable Member of Parliament, Jifa Gomashi, on World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Mr. Speaker, I will start from where Honorable Erikopoku left off. We are all aging. We all grow to become old ladies one day. But unfortunately, Sunday will be celebrating International Father's Day. Unfortunately, the men have never been said to be wizards. It's always the women who are witches. But unfortunately, if by the grace of God, you are granted to grow older, definitely you will get there. I think domestic violence issues are still increasing, whether physically, emotionally, or whatever. But then, have we been voicing out some of these issues as we grow? I have had the opportunity to serve as a Deputy Minister for the Gender Ministry, where we have a division or department for domestic violence. Very few people, very few women still report some of these issues that they face at home. And the worst of it all is the emotional part of it. Because if somebody hits you physically, if I don't report, Honorable Boama might see it and might even report to the police. But what I am going through as an individual, he cannot report for me. So I think some of these issues, we have to address it as and when it comes to us. As for the laws, we have very beautiful, already existing laws, but how do we even implement and follow through to the laws? How do we ensure that the laws are well implemented? How do we ensure that people, those of us who made the laws, we don't even find ourselves foul to the laws? I believe that this is one of the best statements that my honorable sister has put across. Aging is something that we cannot avoid. But as we grow, we ask ourselves, we are talking about domestic violence. Even as human beings, as a man or a woman, what do you take? What food do you eat? Do you exercise? Do you take your regular meals? Do you eat well? All these things affect us when we grow up. There are some people, when they are growing up, they take to drinking, they take to smoking, they take to doing all sorts of things. But remember that there's a saying that whatever you throw to the wall will definitely bounce back to you. So I think that as we are celebrating Abuse Day of Women today, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, I think we should cast our minds back to the witch camps. There are a lot of women out there who are innocent of the crimes being meted out to them. When we had the opportunity to visit them, Mr. Speaker, some of them told us that they are there because of the simple reason that their children are doing well than other members of the family. So people think that they are witches, that's why their children are doing much better. Others also said that they are there because maybe her husband died mysteriously or her children have died mysteriously, and instead of attributing it to our way of life and our healthy life living, they are not doing so. They think that once you give birth to 4 children and 2 of them or 3 of them die, that means you are witch. So I think that as we are celebrating Abuse Day today, we should be looking at the education part of this whole thing, the awareness. We are creating the awareness. We speak at length about it on the floor. But at the end of the day, what will we achieve? We have to go back to our radio stations. We have to use our communities. We have to let them know that if somebody falls sick, then we have climate change all over the place. So even if it's not raining, there's an old lady in the house who they think is a witch. That's why the rain is not falling in the northern part of our country. Unfortunately, we have the witches camp in the northern parts of the country. And when you visit them, the situation that they find themselves in, the environment within which they live, their upkeep, It's nothing to write home about. So even there, they are still torturing them because they've been said to be witches. Which of course, I don't know, I'm not a witch, so I will not know a witch. You may not be a witch, so you may not know a witch. But because the person is elderly, because the person, by the grace of God, has been able to live up to a certain age, because the person has grown, because the person has achieved something in life, because unfortunately something has befell her, she's been said to be a witch. And I think the onus lies on all of us to ensure that some of these things are not done anymore. We should be able to take our mothers out of the witches' camp. We should be able to dissolve that camp. We should be able to find them a better place of living. We realize that there are some NGOs out there. But I've been asking myself, there are a number of NGOs in the northern region. How have they been able to affect the lives of people? They keep moving from the southern part of the country to the northern region, always using poverty, education, witchcraft, back and forth. What have we achieved the last few decades that they've been working in the northern region? So, Honorable Speaker, I share the recommendations that my sister has enumerated here, that as Ghanaians, we all have a role to play by changing the mindset of our people, by educating our people, creating the awareness that at the end of the day, if God grants you the grace, you'll be able to grow to become an elderly woman to age. And so what you want your children, what you want your family, what you want your community to do for you when you grow old, think about it and do same for the elderly woman you meet around. And I think as we continue to educate ourselves, as we continue to create awareness, as we continue to implement and, move through our laws, we'll be able to find a better place for our aging women. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this very important statement made by Honorable Tifa Omashi. Thank you very much.
Very well. Thank you very much. Let me come to leadership.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make brief comments in relation to this brilliant statement made by our colleague, Honorable Abla Ifagumashi. Mr. Speaker, I get a feeling some people feel this statement is about old people. Mr. Speaker, if we all live long enough, we may become weaker physiologically. We may need the support of others to live our lives the way we want to live. Mr. Speaker, it's true, as Honorable Ablakwa said, we are told Ghana's life expectancy has improved. It's now about 64.94%. Mr. Speaker, it shows that we are living longer, which is good. But when you live longer, surely you get weaker. That is natural about our physiology. That is why, Mr. Speaker, we should all pay attention to these things. Today, yourself, myself, majority leader, I am sure in the past you could climb using the stairs to your office on the 10th floor. But Mr. Speaker, I don't know how many colleagues in this house will be able to climb using the stairs to the 4th floor comfortably. It's simply because we are degrading physiologically as we age. And society must be structured in such a way that we make provision for that stage of our lives when we can't do things the way we want to do it. Colleagues talked about other things, including our social structure that appears to be changing. Mr. Speaker, many of us grew up or we survived only because of the network of the extended family. There are many people, including myself, who was taken care of by somebody else in your family who is not necessarily your biological father or mother. So where are we getting it wrong that today, when people give birth and educate them or give them skills and they grow up, they think that those parents have become burdened. So they are looking for a place to park them so that they can have their lives. Some people are ready to actually put their parents in care homes. Mr. Speaker, it may be the culture of other people in other countries, but that is not our culture. Our culture is that
You stay around your parents and then they grow and die. So it is not everything that we can copy from somewhere and think is good for us. Elsewhere, nuclear family is at the heart of family. We actually survive based on the extended family, and we shouldn't let it go because it's a critical part of our survival. Mr. Speaker, if you check Article 715, that's the Disability Act. I keep saying it. That act is very important. It's not about disabled people. It's about people with reduced ability to do things. Mr. Speaker, some people wear glasses. At the age of 5 years, the person is not old. But it means that that person has got a little bit impairment in his vision. When we make laws, the laws must take cognizance of that. Mr. Speaker, assuming we have a speaker today in Parliament whose mobility is challenged, in wheelchair, that speaker cannot sit where you are sitting because this chamber is not fit for purpose when it comes to response to people with less disability. Because where you are sitting, it's only stairs. So if the person is in a wheelchair, how is that person going to get to where you are sitting? So we are even in breach. We ourselves are in breach of the Disability Act to start with. We made the act. They said after 10 years, every public building must ensure that they make adjustments to take care of that. The 10 year has passed. Not even Parliament has actually implemented any part of that. We are in breach of that. You understand? We are in breach of that, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the color scheme in this chamber could actually not help some people with a certain level of a visual impairment. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very important thing that we should all take care of. When it comes to the issue of spirituality and other things, Mr. Speaker, the African is very spiritual. There are people in this country who needed to consult somebody, either a pastor or imam or something, even before they get out of their house. Because whatever the person says, he or she believes that that is what is going to happen. Maybe that is part of the reason that somebody will consider his or her grandparents that nurtured the mother or the parents and who later nurtured him as a reason why he's not able to progress in life. You attend interview. You knew you couldn't answer the questions they've asked you. You come back home, and if you don't get a job, you say that is because of your grandmother, you didn't get a job. Meanwhile, you went and answered the questions completely wrongly. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to take this very seriously, and that is why I believe that the statement made by our colleague is not about all people. It's about all of us preparing for the kind of life we want to live in 10, 15, 20 years' time. And if we want to be treated better, then it is upon us to make the necessary changes that we needed to be, we need in our society before we get there. Because surely, if you live longer enough, you will be weak physiologically. You can't walk the way you need to walk. You can't see, your eyesight may degrade, and you are just at the mercy of others. But I think as a country as well, our laws must begin to reflect this. I want to commend the government in 2008 when they brought the LEAP. Because part of the people who should benefit from LEAP is people of 65 years and above. And that actually exists in the country. As of whether it covers enough people is another matter. But we should do more than that as a people. And we should commend ourselves for that legislation. And we should try and see if we can improve on that. So, Mr. Speaker, I fully endorse this statement and encourage all of us, starting from Parliament, look at the provisions in the Disability Act, Act 715 that we passed, and see if we ourselves can set ourselves as good example by making sure that we encourage institutions that would enforce these laws to address some of the issues raised by our colleague. And when we get home, we see how we treat our elderly people better, because surely where they are today, if we live long enough, we'll get to where they are, and we need to improve on that. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity and thank our colleague for a very brilliant statement made.
Thank you very much. Majority Leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, in making brief comments, on the statement made by our colleague on the subject matter, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day 2023. I must say that the content of the statement is well rooted in the Constitution, particularly Article 39. And the Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, let me quote 39:1 and 2. 39:1 says, subject to clause 2 of this article, the state shall take steps to encourage the integration of appropriate customary values into the fabric of national life through formal and informal education and the conscious introduction of cultural dimensions to relevant aspects of national planning. And 2, the state shall ensure that appropriate customary and cultural values are adapted and developed as an integral part of the growing needs of the society as a whole, and in particular, that traditional practices which are injurious to the health and well-being of persons are abolished. So, Mr. Speaker, once again, the basis of a contention is well-founded because she talks about the need to create this awareness. There is a constitutional obligation on us to ensure that we do away with all practices that create discrimination and by extension leads to an abuse of the elderly. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to take this invitation on board and see to the appropriate policy to ensure implementation. But, Mr. Speaker, colleagues have expressed concerns about the everyday peril, everyday abuse of the elderly. I do not intend to add to the superfluity of such views. However, that's one particular thing that perhaps COVID helped to minimize, but it has taken another dimension again. Funerals. We see old people, men, women, whose children or relatives abandon them, only for us to see lavish funerals being conducted, celebrated, supposedly in their honor. If you take good care of your mom, if you take good care of your dad, if you take good care of the elderly, and upon responding to a call above, you want to honor such a soul, indeed, there should be no problem. But where the old lady is even in need of medications and you don't mind her, where the old man needs your attention and you are too busy, and you would organize funerals, build a new house, maybe you don't even visit the village, or you have an uncompleted house, you complete it and you say you are celebrating the dead. Mr. Speaker, that's a serious matter and we have to look at it. The aspect that hurts the most is what I call the Gonyo party, the one that they wait Sunday, they cook, eat, and will be dancing. I say, really? Suddenly they've forgotten about their sadness and they've forgotten about the pain they claim they are going through, and they are doing Gonyo party. Merry making. They make merry that the person is gone. And we spend money forgetting about when the person was alive. So, Mr. Speaker, I will conclude by saying that the quote by the maker of the statement must be a point of reflection for us. She quotes Ephesians 6:1-3. And Mr. Speaker, we must ponder over these and get the benefit there too. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. You've brought statement time to a close. And Honorable Gomeshi, we thank you for the statement. All the contributors, we thank you. Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I've seen the former Deputy Minority Leader who now chairs the Public Accounts Committee in the House. He has a couple of motions, and I would now pray that you grant him leave to proceed. So, yes, you should. You can mention it.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, the former Deputy Minority Leader is not been put in charge of Public Accounts Committee recently. He has been in charge even when he was a Deputy Minority Leader. Mr. Speaker, Yes, Speaker. A little bit of internal bleeding. But, the Speaker, we had some discussions, the chairman and I was suggesting to him that some of these reports really need serious reflection. And I was asking him to deal with the one relating to the MDs, so that we could stand down the reports on the public boards, corporations, and other statutory institutions, and also the foreign exchange receipts and payment of the Bank of Ghana for the half year and the 30th June. We're required to have maybe the Minister of Finance to be here, and perhaps even officials of the Bank of Ghana to be here to hear what we will say about the reports from the Auditor General and our own considerations of the report of the Auditor General. So, Speaker, I'll plead with him to consider one, and then we'll leave the two. He tells me that he's not going to be around next week. So perhaps the two others will be taken in the ensuing week, not next week. Yes, so we'll deal with one. The one relating to motion listed as item number 10.
Well.
That one is going to be considered.
So, honourable members, we will commence public business, and I will therefore invite you to turn to page 3. Page 3 in today's order paper. We are dealing with motion 10. Motion listed 10. Honourable member, do members have the report? Members have the report. Okay. So you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that this Honourable House adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana for ministries, departments, and other agencies for the year ended 31st December 2020. Mr. Speaker, I present the committee's report, and that I ask the hands that capture the entire report as having been read, whilst I read portions. Mr. Speaker, this report was presented to the House in accordance with Order 1875 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
The report was referred to the Public Accounts Committee for examination and report, pursuant to Order 1652 of the Standing Orders of Parliament of Ghana. The purpose of the audit by the Auditor General was for the Auditor General to ascertain whether all MDAs maintain proper records and books, whether accounts were properly kept, and all public monies due were fully accounted for. The audit also sought to determine if the rules and procedures applicable were sufficient to ensure an effective check on the assessment, collection, and proper allocation of revenue, and whether monies were expended for the purposes for which they were appropriated, and the expenditures were made as authorized. Mr. Speaker, the summary of the findings of the Auditor General. The significant findings of the Auditor General in his report bordered on tax irregularities, cash, outstanding loans and advances, payroll, store and procurement irregularities, and rent and contract irregularities. The overall impact of the irregularity amounted to 2,053,176,449.85 Ghana cedis. The committee noted that the total irregularity declined from the 3 billion recorded in 2019 to 2 billion, representing 31.75% decrease in the financial value of the irregularities. The Speaker, significant among the irregularities is loans and advances, which alone is about 1.1 billion. The Speaker, the committee observations. The committee noted that most of the institutions had complied with the recommendations of the Auditor General in respect of the irregularities cited against them. The committee observed, however, that the irregularities that remain unresolved relate to a number of ministries, departments, and agencies. So these have been captured in a report from page 9 to about page 58 of the report. Let me get to the audit opinion and conclusion. The Auditor General stated that in his independent opinion, there were significant improvements in the presentation of financial statements by the MDAs, especially with the use of GIFMIS. In all, out of the 32 MDAs audited, 18 MDAs received unqualified audit opinion. Thus, their financial statement presented a true and fair view of the financial positions as at 31st December 2020 and financial performance of the MDAs for the year ended. 6 MDAs had their account qualified, that is, except for, on the basis that the accounts were prepared on cash basis and no adequate disclosures were made on GOG assets and liabilities. And 8 disclaimer opinion on the basis that those MDAs did not submit their 2020 financial statement for audit validation by the end of the year, by the end of February 2021, as required by Section 80 of the Public Financial Management Act of 2016 at 921. The Speaker, conclusion. The committee has carefully considered the report and finds that the Auditor General duly prepared same by examining the accounts submitted and expressing his opinion thereon, pursuant to Order Article 187 of the 1992 Constitution and Section 84 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016 at 921. Mr. Speaker, the committee has therefore recommended that the House adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General for ministries, departments, and other agencies for the financial year ended 31st December 2020. As so moved, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Yes. Honorable Ajekum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion, and doing so of the report of the Public Accounts Committee, on the report of the Auditor General, on the public accounts of Ghana, ministries, departments, and other agencies for the financial year ended 31st December 2020. Mr. Speaker, in seconding the motion, I want to make one or two statements. The Speaker, on the page 6 of the report, paragraph 6.1.3, the committee actually found out that the amount of indebtedness or loans advances which was stated in the report as 1,108,660 series 0.4195% was actually a mistake, and that the actual amount of indebtedness and loans and advances was 116 million and 78,274 versus for 12 cities. The Speaker, a whopping 900 million of the amount involved had been wrongly stated, and unfortunately it has been captured in the report by the Auditor General. So I just want to urge the Auditor General that they should pay particular attention to such huge errors, especially because these days a lot of people take these figures that are stated in their report as amounting to loss of money or corruption and what have you. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that is very significant. Mr. Speaker, I also noted that generally the number of infractions have reduced significantly in this particular report, and it's actually continuing over the year, the number of years going forward. Mr. Speaker, another thing we notice is that procurement infraction in generally, the number of procurement infractions is also coming down. I want to congratulate the Auditor General and, of course, the Public Accounts Committee for our stand to refer procurement infractions to the Attorney General for prosecution. This, I believe, is working to reduce the number and necessarily the amount of infractions that are incurring. The Speaker, on those few comments, I second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, let me come to Honorable Sam George.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a member of the committee and supporting my chairman and ranking in reviewing the report, Mr. Speaker, we noticed the number of irregularities. If you check on page 28, paragraph 11.4 of the report, we realized that there was an outstanding National Health Insurance Scheme claim of almost 21 million Ghana cedis. But, Mr. Speaker, of critical importance to me was the old Ningo Health Center that had an outstanding balance of 328,742 Ghana cedis, 23 pesos, to be paid by the National Health Insurance to enable the people of Old Ningo and its environs benefit properly from the National Health Insurance. Lest we say that National Health Insurance, EGBLE. But, Mr. Speaker, another thing that caught my attention was paragraph 11.10.4.1. Mr. Speaker, in that instance, the mortuary attendant, one Mr. Stephen Kwabena Bartels, and the committee was very interested in the name, Stephen Kwabena Bartels. Mr. Speaker, 77,000 Ghana cedis and 6 pesos, 77,006 Ghana cedis, which was money paid, mortuary fees, paid for 554 dead bodies, was stolen by the mortuary attendant. He refused to account for the money, and Mr. Speaker, he wasn't reprimanded but transferred to another mortuary to go and continue his sins there. And for us, that constituted a grave problem, that if you will steal people's money, mortuary fees too, you will steal mortuary fees. Mr. Speaker, it is also important that you look at paragraph 15.1.1, where 1,532,624 Ghana cedis was variation in permit fees, because these fees were charged without parliamentary approval. Mr. Speaker, the companies involved are AEL Mining Services Limited, Orica Ghana Limited, and Maxam Ghana Limited. Maxam Ghana Limited rings a bell, Mr. Speaker, because they were one of the companies involved in the Apiate thing. And so it's extremely important that we look at that. Again, Mr. Speaker, 15.2.1. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Police Service, in the Western region in Takwa, CID arrested some suspects in the case The Republic versus Nana Akako and 3 others. Mr. Speaker, they seized $8,100, 40,000 CFA, and a few other items. Mr. Speaker, the cash has disappeared. When investigation was called for from the police in the exhibit room, the 40,000 CFA that was brought, Mr. Speaker, it turned out, when the police finally brought it, it turned out to be fake money. The original money there, we can't find it. The $8,100 has been sent to the US Embassy for authentication. We are still waiting for the authentication report. That one too will suffer the fate of the CFA. And when we ask where are the 2 police officers who were in charge, one of them has left the police service for us. He's left the police service. He's taking his ex-gratia and gone. And I think that the police must take that case seriously. Mr. Speaker, the last point I will make has to do with 16.4.1. Washington. The Ghana mission in Washington. Mr. Speaker, we appointed an honorary counsel by name Mr. Jack Webb. Jack Webb. And this is on page 46 and 47 of the report. Mr. Speaker, this honorary counsel was running out of our Houston consulate. And Mr. Speaker, he was charging people $100 and $200 for express service in the delivery of Ghanaian visas. Meanwhile, he was only paying $60 and $100. So the honorary counsel was charging in the name of the government of Ghana and taking trouble from it. And so, Mr. Speaker, between 2018 September and 2019 September, the honorary counsel, Mr. Jack Webb, in Ghana's Houston consulate, had collected $843,900 US, but he only accounted for $458,900 US, meaning he had pocketed $354,760 US. almost 355,000 US dollars in the name of the Ghanaian taxpayer. And Mr. Speaker, at the time the committee sat, he had refused to refund the money. He had taken the money and gone. And what the ministry had done was to withdraw his status as honorary counsel. We want to urge that subsequently, when we are appointing honorary counsels, we should check their character well to avoid such gargantuan loss to the state. Mr. Speaker, imagine if an MP had taken $355,000 of taxpayers' money. What will happen to that MP? But this Jack Webb has taken this money and is yet to refund it to the Ghanaian taxpayer. I hope that the Foreign Affairs Ministry will work with law enforcement in the US to retrieve the monies. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let him come to Manson Kwanta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Kwanta, can you please go to your seat, please?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to this all-important report. It is all important because when you talk about Bank of Ghana, it has the honorable duty to ensure that prices are stable in the country, to ensure steady growth of the economy of Ghana. Based on that, anything concerning Bank of Ghana should be taken serious. In the first place, Mr. Speaker, the foreign exchange receipt that they got for the year 2020 shows some receipts exchanged for cedis that was captured in the report. Other receipts were not; those who were not exchanged for cedis were not captured in the auditor's report. However, Mr. Speaker, it shows that the reserves position of Bank of Ghana also increased, telling us that based on the amount exchanged for cedis, which shows something not also exchanged, it will be interesting to know that it has been captured in the reserve position, which increased from 8.62273 million cedis in 2020 as compared to the 8,441 million dollars, which means that there was a marginal increase of 209.2 million, which is 2.47%. Mr. Speaker, the committee which presented the report showed that the increase in gold and corresponding bank balances and foreign notes and coins were the major issues that increased the reserves. However, when you look at the report, cocoa receipts were down, which shows that cocoa receipt in 2020 was 1,473.92 million compared to 2,166.93, which was due to the fact that production of cocoa went down. That affects our foreign exchange receipts. However, this was compensated for by gold receipts, which shows some good amount of foreign currency coming into the Ghanaian economy. Mr. Speaker, that should tell us that we have to give meaning to gold production in the country. So I know the day.
Honourable member, hold on. Let the chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I think that my colleague is reading or is debating a different report. But the report I moved is numbered 10 on page 3 of the other paper. But he's actually debating the foreign exchange report. So if you can come back to the report for ministry, department, and other agencies. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member for Manson Kwanta, you have to. There are so many reports, but he's just trying to let you know the exact report we are.
Yes, the report is the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the Auditor General on statements of foreign exchange receipts.
No. Chairman, thank you for drawing our attention to that. He'll come. I mean, let's give.
I thank the chairman for drawing the honorable member's attention, but he's one member who has been very prompt to duty and always present in the chamber. So I see my good friend Eric trying to catch your attention to rule him out. We should rather encourage him. So Eric, don't do your tactics here. Let's allow him to. Let's rather encourage him. Just as take a cue from the chairman. Take a cue from your chairman.
Okay, leader, I will obviously come back to him. So let me, honorable member, take your time and go through that. I'll come back to you for you to make your. I'll come to you. Let me go to Eric.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to associate with the motion on the floor of the House. Mr. Speaker, this Auditor General's report and the subsequent report from the committee is very, very important to us because it's one of the tools to ensure accountability and to make sure that the little resources we have are judiciously applied in the supreme interest of our people. Speaker, on page 25, the committee reports to this House that fertilizers which were supplied for production of maize, rice, Mr. Speaker, for us to be self-sufficient in food production and cut down on importation of maize and rice to restore some stability to the exchange rate and thereby create jobs for our people were stolen. They were not accounted for. Mr. Speaker, this is very, very bad, and we have to make sure that this thing does not occur again. Mr. Speaker, when we release the resources, we have to make sure that it gets to the farmers so that we can increase food production. Now we are importing rice, we are importing maize. Every year we sit in this House, we approve resources for the purchase of these inputs. And Mr. Speaker, we say a lot of good things that we are releasing these resources to ensure that we increase production. At the end of the day, they are diverted. And we are still in the same problem. And so this is something that we have to note very well and ensure that it does not happen again. And Mr. Speaker, Fisheries, page 25, report that 265 permits were issued between January 2019 and December 2019 by the Import and Export Unit of the Fisheries Commission. Within 1 year, 265 permits for people to import fish and for fish producers to also export. And Mr. Speaker, when they are importing, they pay fees for the permits. And when you are exporting to, you pay fees. The Auditor General is reporting to this House that in 1 year, January 2019 to December 2019, a whopping 1.3 million Ghana cedis was paid. 1.3 million Ghana cedis. 1.3 million Ghana cedis was paid.
Eric, hold on.
Oh, are you reading a different report?
Eric, hold on.
Are you reading a different report?
Eric, every report you turn into Agric and Cuckoo affairs. No,
Mr. Speaker, my respected colleague, we have a report from a very important committee, as the Public Accounts Committee, chaired by the former chairman of the Finance Committee of this August House, the respected Kluje Aveji.
Venerable.
The experienced Kluje Aveji, who has produced a report ably signed by my good friend James, born in 1964. Mr. Speaker. And the man from Kuko and Sankore is deviating from the report and veering into areas not captured in Avedi's report. I don't think he's doing any good to Mr. Avedi. So he must stick to the report, the content of the report. Everything is agric. Why? Incoming running mate. Why? We love him, we respect him. Speaker, he's one of our very reliable person when it comes to agric, issues. And we respect his views. I also know that he holds a strong views of seeking the attention of the flag bearer of the NDC to be appointed as a running mate. But if he goes on this tangent, the tangent he's seeking will not help him. I beg you, he should stay clear of that tangent and speak to his professional views. Please. Yeah, pro bono, this is a free advice. Everything I agree. Abba, why?
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Agrike Kokuman.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We are dealing with the committee's report. And Mr. Speaker, when you are giving the report, you have to read through the report before you comment. And reading through, I came across point 10.3.2, where it talks about fisheries. And then 10.3.1, 10.2.1, missing fertilizers. Mr. Speaker, these are all relevant issues captured in the report for the attention of this House. The honorable members who raised these point of orders, Mr. Speaker, they were not following the discussion. They were reading different reports. And so when they got up, they were talking about something that is not before this House. I am speaking to the very report which is being discussed before this House. And so if you don't know what is in the report, please keep quiet and let's discuss it. The committee report to this House that fertilizers for food production got missing. And those who were handling it could not account for it. And probably that is one of the reasons why we are unable to produce sufficient food for our people. And it must be a concern for you as a member of parliament. And honorable, you want to trivialize this matter. Very, very important. And Mr. Speaker, I was on the fishes issues. My point is that people want to import fish to supplement what we are able to produce locally. Because obviously we know we are unable to produce enough to meet the demand in our country. And when they are going to import, they need the permit, so they have to pay a fee for the permit. Within 1 year, 265 permits were issued, and 1.3 million Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker, was paid. And the person who took that money, the person who took the 1.3 million cannot account for that money. And you are saying that you shouldn't shout. My brothers, Mr. Speaker, this was between January 2019 and December 2019 under the watch of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And so it's a serious matter. We have to talk about it. So, Mr. Speaker,
you are rich. That's what you are rich.
Mr. Speaker, this is a serious matter, and it's good that the Auditor General is asking that that officer must be found and the money taken from him. And Mr. Speaker, page 46, another serious issue was mentioned there. And I'm interested in that matter. 46, Mr. Speaker, is about the Washington mission. And it has to do with consular fees. Mr. Speaker, applicants who wanted to come to Ghana were made to pay visa fees. Mr. Speaker, they raised the visa fees to 100 and then 200 if you want express. $100 ordinary, 200 if you want. They paid. And when they were accounting to the auditor, they reduced it. They said they were paying 60 and 100. Instead of disclosing the 100 and 200. This is what the Auditor General is reporting to us. And this is not fraud. This is fraud.
Mr. Speaker, it's a serious matter. Mr. Speaker, let me refer you to that page 46, paragraph 16.4.1. How can we behave this way and still say that we are developing our nation? You increase visa fees, people pay, and then when you are accounting, you do your own editing. You reduce it to 60, and then you say that you are developing our nation. Mr. Speaker, this is corruption. It's a serious matter. And we are saying that the appointment of that officer has been terminated.
That's all. How can
I mean, how? The appointment of the officer has been terminated.
we need the money?
Huh? So you should go with the money. Just because a lot of people benefited. Mr. Speaker, is that not the reason? Mr. Speaker, this is a serious matter. And my colleague Okankwe will not talk about this. He wouldn't talk about this. This is a serious matter. Ghanaians abroad who decided to come home, they said, oh, let's obtain visa because probably we hold foreign citizenship. And then other people who wanted to come here, they paid. The officer who was being paid with our taxes took the money. And he edited it, Mr. Speaker, 100 cedis, 200, and he discloses $100. He discloses 60, 100. Instead of the $100 and 200, he said $60 and $100, and pocketed the rest. Now the Auditor General says that, look, this is not good. Honorable, where are you going?
Why are you running away?
You are running away from your own deeds. And that is why you can't speak to it. You see what your people are doing. They are raping this nation. It's a serious matter.
Now it's gone international.
You are disowning your own people.
Honorable Eric, don't cause any insinuation.
Because he interjected.
Don't cause any insinuations.
And so, Mr. Speaker, this is a serious matter that this House must be concerned about. We cannot allow the resources of our nation to go down the drain this way, to be frittered away just like that, as if we don't have anything to do. Meanwhile, our people are wallowing in abject poverty. You go to the villages, Mr. Speaker, even in your own constituency, getting a borehole for them is even a challenge. And look at how we apply the resources of our state. Are we serious as a nation? This House must be concerned about it. So it's not because our people are not paying taxes. We pay, but the accounting is the difficulty. And Mr. Speaker, this accountability exercise is not on members of parliament alone. Sometimes people argue that, oh, if they are doing it, what is parliament doing? The constitution indicates directly that the members of the media are also responsible to hold government accountable. And this is in the constitution, Mr. Speaker. I refer to Article 162. Article 162, clause 5. And with your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, I read Article 162, clause 5. Mr. Speaker, I read, all agencies of the mass media shall at all times be free to uphold the principles, provisions, and objectives of this Constitution, and shall uphold the responsibility and accountability of the government to the people of Ghana. So the duty to hold this government accountable is also on our friends in the media. So if we are not in government today and we are holding government accountable, they must be our partners in that exercise so that we can keep this government on its toes and protect the resources of our state. Look at what the Auditor General is telling us. After this debate, what happens to the report, Mr. Speaker? We do it every year. We talk about it, we raise all the issues. At the end of the day, nothing happens. So whoever is given the opportunity to use our resources, think that, oh, when it will go to Parliament, they will talk about it and nothing will happen. That is why our people are suffering. Look at the resources that we have. There's a report that says that as As we speak today, Ghana is the largest producer of gold in Africa. The largest producer of gold in Africa. And our people are suffering like this just because when you get the resource, you throw it away. Huh? You take money from our people and then you just dissipate it, fritter it away. And you come here speaking every day, saying that we want to build a nation that everybody will be proud of. Mr. Speaker, we have to be serious for once. On this note, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you ready now? Okay. I'll come to you, my sister. Let me deal with him. Then after I'll come to Honorable Kujetu, then I'll come, then we finish. Yes, Honorable Member for my son.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this auditor's report. Before I make my case, I may want to make reference to point 50, purpose of the audit. The Auditor General stated clearly the purpose of the audit was for the Auditor General to ascertain whether all MDAs maintain proper records and books, whether accounts were properly kept, and all public monies due were fully accounted for. The audit also sought to determine if the rules and procedures applicable were sufficient to ensure an effective check on the assessment, correction, and proper allocation of revenue. Mr. Speaker, this purpose statement of the Auditor General, it shows clearly that the Auditor General's purpose and objective is not to investigate fraud. It is to ensure that the rules in place, the guidelines in place in preparing the accounts, and the evidence underpinning these collections and accounting are also sufficient enough to ensure that everything is done properly. When you look also at the audit summary findings, it shows that there were reported cash irregularities, outstanding loans, advances, payroll irregularities, and store procurement irregularities, rent and contract irregularities. What is the meaning of these? The point that there are irregularities doesn't mean that some fraud have been committed. In some cases, the Auditor General report shows that some of these irregularities were even collected before their audit came to an end. At a certain point in time, Parliament should also come out clearly to address the public and educate them that the fact that some irregularities are mentioned doesn't mean all of them result in fraud, because Auditor General does not have that. So if Parliament believes there are some irregularities called for investigation, we have the power to do that, to find out details about some of these outstanding issues. For example, there were some tax irregularities. Mr. Speaker, to the tune of 694,386,436.5. Mr. Speaker, when you go through this, it tells you that there were some irregularities involving companies, business entities, and individuals who owed corporate individual income taxes. Here, the irregularity is not talking about the people stealing money from the state or intentionally not trying to pay, but they were not keeping proper records, which the GRA has every power to ensure that these monies are paid accordingly. Also, cash irregularities were also mentioned. Other irregularities involving all institutions were mentioned. And these irregularities I'm talking about, they are all concerning the rules and regulations governing the provision accounts. It doesn't show that money has been stolen, which is fraud. On that note, some of these irregularities should be carefully assessed, so that you don't end up concluding that everything irregularity is a matter of fraud. Mr. Speaker, if you want to kill this aim, then the important thing is that the government of Rekufado has instituted the idea of going digital. Ghana is overdue to go digital. All these irregularities could have been nipped into the mud if we have digitalized our system and everything is cashless economy. It is high time Parliament should be bold enough, if you want to avoid these irregularities, to ensure digitalization of the economic system, to ensure that all cash flows received and payments are covered digitally, so that the cashless system that we are all praying for should come to place and to limit the extent of irregularities in the operation of our MMDAs and other ministries. Mr. Speaker, to conclude, I want to say all these things that we are learning here about irregularities are nothing new. It is something that goes with every entity where they will not go with the rules and the laws. This thing can be nipped into the bud if we are able to institute the digitalization to its meaningful level and ensure a cashless system where everything is automated and the system will work to perfection and ensure that Ghana does not suffer some of these irregularities all the time coming up in the accounts day in, day out. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Manso Panta. You've already prefaced that you'll be brief. Okay, then I'll give you the floor.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll keep my promise of being very brief. Mr. Speaker, I am particularly worried about the report relating to, the aspect of the report relating to our diplomatic mission in Washington and the Honorary Consul's office in Houston, Texas. Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious matter. And as ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, I will urge that our committee should take up from where the Public Accounts Committee has left off. They've done a great job, but clearly there are a lot of questions that the Foreign Ministry will have to answer. First of all, the whole idea and concept of express rush service. Mr. Speaker, as ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I'm sure Honorable Anodon Press here, Honorable Yabuama is here, experienced members on the committee. We are seeing this for the first time. What is rush service? This has never come to our attention at the level of the committee. And then, Mr. Speaker, fees and charges. Nobody can elect. You are a public officer. The law is very clear. This House approves every fee and charge that any public institution or any public officer charges the general public, both home and abroad. So, where did this gentleman called Jack Webb, where did he get his authority to decide that he is creating his own service known as rush service or express service? And then he puts his own figure, $100, $200. So I agree with the Public Accounts Committee that going forward, there has to be due diligence. Where did they get this chap from? This Jack Webb, where is he from? What due diligence was that? You know, Mr. Speaker, so fees and charges violated, rush service unknown to this House, to the Foreign Affairs Committee. And as we speak, Mr. Speaker, a whopping $354,760 has been embezzled, cannot be accounted for. And this gentleman has gone scot-free. Mr. Speaker, the Foreign Ministry should not have just terminated his appointment. They should have caused his arrest. That's what other countries do. Every now and then we see reports. Recently, there was some diplomat who was arrested, a Kenyan diplomat. So let's show some more commitment to the fight against corruption. And finally, Mr. Speaker, let us not underestimate the damage that things like this can do to this beautiful program we call the Year of Return. A lot of our compatriots, the African Americans, are taking advantage and coming down every November, December. The country is flooded. They are coming in their numbers. They all want to contribute to our economy. If they hear that the payments they are making, somebody called Jack Webb is virtually pocketing half, and we can't find the money. Imagine what it does. It dents our image. People will even lose interest in this whole Year of Return initiative, which is a very laudable initiative. So as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious matter, and I hope that the ministry will take consequential action and the Foreign Affairs Committee also will follow up. Let's hope that we don't have other consulate generals all over the place creating their own concepts, rush service, express service, and then they put their own figure to it. No recourse to the fees and charges, no approval, and then they are just milking the country. Meanwhile, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, there are a number of these missions, they owe rent. They even owe the foreign service staff. They haven't paid them several months. And then individuals. Often they are not even Ghanaians. I don't think this chap is a Ghanaian. And he's keeping our money. And so far, he's not accounted for it. He's gone scot-free. So let's take a serious view, Mr. Speaker, and let's retrieve this money, and he must be prosecuted for what he has done. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I'm giving my sister the last lot. What you know? I've already given that directive. No, let me give my sister Abuakwa North. Let me give her the opportunity to also contribute. Then I come to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, a lot of people hold the view that the end of the Auditor General's report, that is the end of it. But I have a very different opinion and also observation. Mr. Speaker, the letters from the Public Account Committee to heads of agency has brought a lot of corrections and a lot of uprightness in the way businesses are done concerning monies that are sent to them and the way we disperse them. Mr. Speaker, most of the infractions involve unsupported payments, procurement irregularities, unearned salaries, and unpaid rent. Mr. Speaker, it is heartwarming to state that from paragraph 18.1, 18.1.2 on, to observe that after letters from the Public Account Committee get to the heads of agencies, they quickly do the needful and recover a lot of the monies and infractions. And this proves that the Public Account Committee, working together with the Auditor General staff, it's doing a lot of corrections on our systems, except that few individuals and agencies are not obeying the simple rules, that is the PFMR. But with the public account, a lot of monies have been collected. For instance, in paragraph 18.11, with unsupported payments, 18.11 and 18.12, monies that hitherto were part of the infractions were corrected and appropriate documentations were done. And when you compare 2018, 2019, and 2020 public account reports, you realize that the infractions have reduced tremendously. And even between the time that the Parliament writes to agencies, a lot of corrections and a lot of realignments are done. So I want to say that the Public Account Committee is helping government to reduce the infractions and in some cases reduce corruption to a very large extent. So I want to say that the Public Account Committee is doing very much work to the country. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Now I'll come to leadership. The leadership, I will even enjoin you to be brief.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to add my voice in approving the report before the House. Speaker, may I first tackle what the committee discovered under Ministry of Finance? Speaker, each member of this House buys his or her own fuel. Speaker, these fuel stations will dash you a milliliter of their fuel. The Speaker, we uncovered that OMCs will lift oil and they'll refuse to pay the appropriate taxes.
Speaker, may I refer the House to paragraph 8.1 sub 1 on page 9.
Mr. Speaker, the customs division ought to be up and doing. And you will discover that every year the reports are replete with things like this. For instance, it said that as much as 226.9 million was owed to the state between 2018 to 2019 by 28 oil marketing companies. And these are taxes that they owe the state. Mr. Speaker, just below that paragraph, another set of OMCs also failed to pay taxes as much as 5.4 billion. Mr. Speaker, when these debts were renegotiated with the OMCs by the GRA for them to pay, negotiated payment terms, they defaulted. And so, Speaker, in addition to the public accounts going round and scrutinizing the reports and establishing Parliament's position as to how these debts should be recovered, it's important that we also emphasize on the post-audit scrutiny implementation reports. Speaker, like my brother said, if we discuss the report, what happens to it? We should be interested in the steps taken by the agencies to recover these sums of monies from these entities that owe us. Speaker, let me leave the issues of Ministry of Finance and go to the office of the Attorney General. Mr. Speaker, under the office of the Attorney General, the committee discovered that the Registrar General's Department, in breach of Section 43 of the Procurement Law, actually supply goods and services to the tune of 360,000 before awarding the contract. And Mr. Speaker, these are offenses that individuals are standing trial and facing prosecution. So if a whole Registrar General's Department can supply goods and services before the awarding the contract, it's a big headache for the committee. Mr. Speaker, under the Judicial Service, you will be shocked to hear that where persons stand trial, they get convicted, they pay court fines. Court officers do not account for monies that persons who have been criminally prosecuted, convicted, and fined, they cannot account for it. And I will make reference to page 39 of the report.
Honorable Available Leader, I said earlier on, let's be brief.
Mr. Speaker, I'll be brief, but these are very thorny matters. Mr. Speaker, if you take the magistrate court in Nkranza, they could not expenditure as much as 3,900 could not be supported. You take the district court in Winneba, revenue that they could not account for was in excess of 10,000. Mr. Speaker, if you take the magistrate court in Chifu Praso, as much as 116,000 was received, but was not banked by a court officer. Mr. Speaker, so if even officers of our courts are determined by the Auditor General to have engaged in some of these serious infractions, then as a House, like I said earlier on, we should lay emphasis and give him more resources to the committee for us to do more. Yes, we need more resources. The Public Accounts Committee is actually helping to seal the loopholes within the public sector. And we are hemorrhaging, we are sealing it, so we need more resources
to be able to do more, uncover this, and help these defaulters recover the sums that they owe the state. Mr. Speaker, with these words, I thank you for the opportunity for adding my voice.
Thank you very much for making it brief. Yes, Honorable Majority.
Speaker, my words will be brief indeed. I will only commend the leadership of the committee, particularly the chair and the ranking member, who have shown leadership in terms of the prompt delivery of their reports to this House floor for debate. So let me conclude on the note that Parliament as an institution have also more or less reneged on our role. If you look at the Constitution clearly, Article 187, there are imperatives onto this House. After the debate, the debate on the Public Account Committee, there is a certain function that we have to perform. And for a very long time, I was just having a discussion with the ranking member, trying to tease out his views on why this function has not been performed for a very long time. And if you talk to the leadership of the committee, all of them come to agreement that this function is critical and for a long time has eluded this House. So, leadership, the two leaders, both the majority and minority leader, would have to make a decision on these matters. What we can do as required by the Constitution after the debate, because we can always vent out our views and lament, but the aftermath of it, which I consider as very critical. For instance, the lamentation of the ranking member for Foreign Affairs comes to me as a big surprise to me, and we cannot just let this thing go. So, Chair and Ranking, Chair of the Public Accounts Committee, the Constitution gives us a mandate after the debate on the Public Account Committee. Let's all put our heads together and ensure that that function is dispensed of in the public interest of the Republic. That we must do. And as for the lamentation, we can always lament. But Article 187, going down to Clause 6, the provisions are clear. And leadership should be able to show us a roadmap on what we should be doing. So on that note, I want to commend the committee chair and the ranking for the prompt delivery of their report and also support the motion move. I thank you.
Thank you very much. So, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion listed 10 in today's order paper is hereby adopted. Yes, leadership.
Speaker, having regard to the time and previous agreement that leadership had, I'd like to move the House to adjourn to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I so move.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion to adjourn the House to tomorrow, 10 o'clock, has been moved and has been seconded. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I thank you so much for your cooperation. The House stands adjourned.